All right, we'll now call the City Council regular meeting to order for April 24th. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. The invocation will be given by Councilwoman Brittany McGuire.
Thank you, Lord, for this evening. Thank you for the opportunity for all of us to come out and discuss the affairs of the city. Lord, I'm asking you to give us wisdom and guidance as we go about making these decisions. Lord, help us to make the decisions that are in the best interest of everybody in Avon Park. Thank you for your good health and for your safety. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, if you'll please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Councilmember McGuire?
Here.
Councilmember McCure?
Here.
Councilmember Taylor?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Here.
Mayor Anderson?
Here.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 4, we have a proclamation for the National Travel and Tourism Week. This will be from May 7th to the 13th. Ms. Wall, did you want to say anything, or you want me to just read it into the record? Yep. No problem. All right. Whereas the first full week of May is recognized as National Travel and Tourism Week to promote the contributions of travel and tourism to our nation's economic prosperity and image around the world and the well-being of Americans. And whereas travel to and within the United States produces significant economic benefits, generates $2.1 trillion in economic output, and supports 15 million jobs. And whereas travel and tourism are vital components of Highlands County's diverse economy, a cornerstone of our vibrant quality of life, and a catalyst for entrepreneurship, cultural enrichment, historic preservation, community revitalization, and economic growth. And whereas in recent years, visitors spending in Highlands County generated $272.5 million per year, had a $247.5 million annual economic impact to the county, provided 3,866 jobs, and saved each Highlands County household $169 a year. And whereas the Highlands County Tourist Development Council, TDC, was established to stimulate the tourism industry in Highlands County, support the development of local tourism marketing programs, and increase the prosperity and welfare of the people of Highlands County. And whereas in an effort to market Highlands County as a premier travel destination, the Highlands County Tourism Development Council works tirelessly in partnership with localities, businesses, and nonprofit institutions to extend the appeal and reach of Highlands County tourism advertising and promotions. And whereas travel and tourism professionals are devoted ambassadors for Highlands County, whose commitment to economic opportunity, community development, hospitality, and progress exemplify the highest ideals and best traditions of Highlands County. Now, therefore, the mayor and council members for the city of Avon Park, Florida, does hereby recognize May 7th through 13th, 2023 as the National Travel and Tourism Week in Avon Park, Florida, and calls this observance to the attention of all of our citizens. Ms. Wall, anything to add to that?
Thank you. You did an excellent job.
Thank you.
Casey Hart, for the record, with the Highlands County Tourist Development Council. I just wanted to thank you all for helping us recognize National Travel and Tourism Week coming up. We may not think of ourselves as a tourist destination when we look at like a Tampa or Orlando, but for a small county in the south central part of the state, we really do rely a lot on tourism coming to our area, not just with our raceway, but also our snowbirds. And we just did an online survey and found a lot of people are coming here for outdoor recreation. So probably more people than we actually realize in our everyday lives. With that being said, I wanted to personally invite you all to a couple meetings that we have coming up. The first one is going to be this Wednesday. It's going to be held at the County Commission Chambers at 3 o'clock. You may have seen we recently got a state grant to do a recreation tourism facility study to figure out what kind of facilities for both tourism and recreation are needed in Highlands County, not just maybe a new facility, but maybe enhancements to existing facilities. We have consultants coming into town on Wednesday. We're going to do a drive-by of a bunch of different facilities, all the way from the tip of Avon Park all the way down to out by Venus, so they can see everything. And then we are going to have that public meeting at 3 o'clock at the County Commission Chamber, so I hope you all come. And the other part of that is we have a recreation study for residents as well. So there's two components to that study. Then the next day, Thursday at 8:15 a.m. in the same place, we have our TDC meeting. So we'll also have that same presentation in case you cannot make it on Wednesday. And then we'll also have all of our updates that we're doing from a marketing and tourism standpoint. And also our sports consultants will give an update as well. And then on May 17th, will be the actual final results of that study, because this week is just a preliminary update. So May 17th is our tourism luncheon, where we provide insights to what's going on with tourism, which will be this facility study findings. Also be an update from Visit Florida, and we'll also have an update from Madden Media, who is our digital marketing strategist. And then we will also present our tourism awards for the year. Again, that is May 17th. That's going to be at 11:30 at the Sebring Civic Center. And that is open to the public, but you do have to purchase a lunch ticket for that.
Okay.
So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Casey, did you have a specification for how big the property had to be that you guys are looking for?
Nope. And they're looking at everything from shuffleboard courts to shooting range in Venus. Anything sports related. I mean, I know we typically sometimes think baseball fields and soccer fields, but when you look at the sports world, it's huge. I mean, we've been hosting a bunch of lacrosse events in Sebring. You guys had jet ski races here last year, so it really is anything and everything. And it doesn't have to be a sports venue. It just may be a facility or venue that, with some enhancements, could attract some really unique sporting events. To give you an example, if anyone's heard of parkour,
Yep.
we are actually talking to Parkour about bringing an event here. So if you're not familiar with parkour, Google it. It's pretty crazy. It's where they're jumping off buildings, and if you saw the episode of The Office where they were doing it,
Yep.
you'll find it very amusing. So it's actually become a sport. I mean, the things that have become sports nowadays because of COVID are mind-blowing. I mean, we're bringing in a cornhole tournament. It's the state championship cornhole tournament, and the winner last year made $500,000 throwing beanbags.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, the things that have become sports nowadays are just beyond what we traditionally think as sports.
Excellent.
So does that answer your question?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any other questions for Casey?
I think pickleball would be good for Avon Park. What do you think about that one?
Pickleball, we've heard a lot about pickleball, and we've had a lot of new pickleball facilities coming on board, and then also some conversions.
Right.
So I know I did send, Mark, did I send the pickleball folks here to look at your tennis courts for possible conversion? I'm not sure what happened with that.
They decided it wouldn't suffice for it.
So, and we play this game, it's kind of a balancing act, if you will, with, and for those of you who don't know, the TDC is funded by a tourist development tax. So the residents of Highlands County do not pay for tourism. We have a tax if you stay 6 months or less in a hotel or a condo, Airbnb. That's how our money's generated. We're not part of general revenue. So obviously what we're looking to do is grow that pot, get more visitors here. So anything that we can do to bring a pickleball tournament is what we're looking at. But like, for example, if we need 16 courts to bring in a statewide pickleball tournament, that's a 16-court asset to the community. Right now, a lot of what's going on in Highlands County is we're going to put 4 courts here and 6 courts here, and that doesn't help us bring a tourism event. It's great for the community,
Right.
but it doesn't really help us drive tourism. So we're looking at how do we enhance facilities so we can bring tourism here, but then also help the community as well. And then it not be a drain on the community financially.
Sure. Excellent. Any other questions? Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 5 is to be a proclamation for International Museum Day for May 18th. Again, this is the TDC. Whereas museums throughout Highlands County, Florida, the United States of America, and the world provide unique educational and cultural opportunities that significantly enhance our quality of life. And whereas museums play a vital role in preserving Highlands County's rich history, telling stories about our past while providing insight into our future by maintaining and nurturing historical links. And whereas Highlands County Museums will celebrate International Museum Day on May 18th, 2023 in numerous ways, including offering special tours and hosting guest speakers. And whereas with the theme Museums, Sustainability, and Well-Being, the 2023 observance of International Museum Day serves as a reminder that museums have the power to achieve sustainability in various ways, including fostering inclusivity, tackling social isolation, and improving mental health. Whereas we encourage all Avon Park residents to recognize the importance of museums to our communities and to work together to preserve these valuable institutions for our enjoyment and benefit today and in the future. Now therefore, the mayor and city council members for the city of Avon Park, Florida, does hereby proclaim May 18th, 2023 as International Museum Day in Avon Park, Florida. Anything to add there? Okay. All right. One final proclamation. Lung Cancer Action Week. This will be for May 8th through 14th. This is Ellis Brady with the American Lung Association. Proclamation designating the second week in May as Lung Cancer Action Week, whereas about every 2.25 minutes, a person in the U.S. is diagnosed with lung cancer, and whereas lung cancer is a leading cause of cancer deaths, and whereas lung cancer screening saves lives, and advocacy and increased awareness will result in more high-risk individuals getting screened, whereas public support for research funding will result in new treatments and better methods of early detection, and whereas Lung Force is a national initiative led by the American Lung Association to defeat lung cancer. Be it resolved that the city of Avon Park hereby designates the second week in May as Lung Cancer Action Week throughout the city and encourages all residents of Avon Park to learn more about lung cancer, risk factors, early detection, and take action. All right. Was anyone from the American Lung Association here?
No, sir.
Okay.
Yes, actually, this is Steve Riddle. I'm the executive director on the Zoom call. Can you
Hold
hear
on
me?
1 second, Steve. I'll get
One
you pulled
second.
up.
Yes, sir. Is there anything that you'd like to add to that proclamation?
No, sir. We just wanted to thank you very much. Lung cancer, unfortunately, is the #1 cancer killer in the U.S. A lot of people don't realize that. 1 in 16 people will develop lung cancer in their lifetime. We've done a great job by increasing the 5-year survival rate of lung cancer by 25%.
Wow.
In the last 10 years. So there's a lot of activities and work going on, especially with our research and advocacy and lung cancer screening. So we just wanted to make sure and publicize that through this week and through our Lung Force campaign. So thank you very much for the recognition. And hopefully if anybody has any other needs or information on lung cancer, please feel free to go to lung.org. Thank you.
Mr. Riddle, we thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, item number 7. This will be a event request and road closure for July 4th fireworks display at Donaldson Park. Miss Anderson, if you'll please come up to the podium. Give your name and address for the record, please.
Candace Anderson, 157 Wester Avenue, Avon Park.
All right, so this is a request for donation from the city and the road closures. So if you'll remember, every year the JCs, specifically Mr. Turner, had come before us asking for a donation. They have long been looking for another organization to take that over, and thankfully he reached out to Candy sometime a few weeks ago or a couple months ago, and
Yes.
they were amenable to taking that over. It does cost a great deal more than this donation, so it's a big ask, but this is exactly what had been requested in previous years. Is that correct?
That is correct. We just wanted to, obviously the city is not the same on 4th of July without the fireworks. And since the school is literally on the lake where the fireworks happen, we just wanted to, be a part of that and give back to the community and, put on a good show.
Very good. Any questions?
Well, I have a question for her, but I don't think it's pretty much for her. Why did JC lose their 501?
They simply did not fill out the appropriate paperwork, because in organizations like that, it typically is 1% of the people do 99% of the work, and whoever that 1% was decided not to do it that year. So it happens. I've seen it in Rotary at times. I've seen it in other charitable organizations.
So from here on, Miss Anderson, you would be the one to
Yes, I would love
before
to.
us for the fireworks?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. It looks like the JC said they're no longer involved, so where are we going to get the rest of the funds?
Private funding, or I'll do fundraisers or something like that, or just my own bank account.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Whatever it takes.
All right.
We're willing.
Well, thanks. We appreciate that very
You're
much.
welcome.
The total show is somewhere around $20,000, right?
It can be, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, I'll be
I have one for Mayor. Ms. Anderson, were you asked to do this or you just volunteered?
They asked me, they came to me and asked me if I would be willing to do it, since we have a 501c3. And I jumped at the chance and like, absolutely.
Do you know or not if you was the only one that was asked?
I have
They
no idea.
asked quite a few organizations.
And what, they say no?
They said no because they didn't want to be responsible for coming up with the almost 20 grand every year.
And Ms. Anderson, and you want to be responsible for that big responsibility, liability? I'm just asking because, you know, when you're dealing with firework, you're dealing with a lot of, you know, anything could go wrong.
Correct. Well, the gentleman that we'll be using to actually shoot off the fireworks, he has to have his own insurance and liability and everything. So he technically assumes that responsibility, but I'm all for putting on the show and being responsible for providing the funding for that.
But the guy who's doing the fireworks this isn't his first time. He's done it many times.
No, he's
right?
a very seasoned,
Okay.
seasoned person.
Is he the same one that JC's been using?
Yeah,
Yes,
there's
ma'am.
only one company in Highlands County that does this. They've been here for, I think, 60 or 70 years. So.
They do all three cities, right?
They also used to do Disney World shows too, so
Yeah.
they know what they're doing.
Yep.
Any other questions? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I make a
make-
mo, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I'll make a motion to approve B7 for the road closures for the July 4th fireworks display.
Does that include the donation?
Yes, that absolutely does include the donation.
5,000.
Yes, 5,000.
All right, is there a second?
I'll be happy to second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions? Seeing none, we'll call a roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
I'll abstain due to my relationship with the organization.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
I will abstain as Candace is my sister.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Candy.
All right, item number 8, this will be an update for the Lakeside Historical Cemetery. Do we have consultant Matt Davis with us?
Yes.
We
Good
do.
evening. Thank you.
If you'll please give your name and address for the record,
Yes,
please.
Matt Davis, 9071 Southeast La Creek Court, and that's in Hobe Sound, Florida.
Okay. Last we spoke, there was potential for some grants and
Yes,
some positive
so
things.
I'm here to give you an update where I've been the last couple of weeks. I've made a lot of progress. I met with the Highlands County Preservation Committee. They are in the process right now of writing a letter of support to the trustee board to move forward with trying to find opportunities for helping out and assisting. I also have met with the Florida Preservation Activity Network, Action Network. I apologize, it's FPAN. They are an organization right now out of Tampa that has been working specifically with African American cemeteries around the state of Florida. If you did see, there was a show that I sent on video from the Tampa organization showing funding that was received for an African American cemetery over there, a $500,000 grant. The state does have funding. So with that, I am meeting right now with APCI on their trustee program for maintenance. We also, with the help of the old board, we've transitioned to the new board. So now we have the new board in place. So I have a two-pronged proposal for council today to think about, if I can.
Sure.
We've been struggling with the property deed. And so I am requesting a quitclaim deed on that piece of property. And if in fact you do find that, I am proposing to the city that you provide that deed to the trustee board. We will then submit the grant for $500,000, deposit that grant in the Mid-Florida Credit Union, and we will use FPAN, who provides free resources on restoring and updating cemeteries. They do that at free of charge. They will provide that to any volunteer group, any entity, any organization that wants to do that. So my proposal is, I will provide the grant to the board with the city's support, along with the county's support. So I'm proposing that. But what we have to find out first is what's with the property.
Okay.
We seem to be at a kind of a block, whether the city owns it or if you have eminent domain. So that's my request. The proposal is in my hand. I will provide it to the city.
Okay.
It's based upon the African American Cultural Heritage Action Fund grant. That comes from the National Trust for Historic Preservation. Okay? This grant is written to their specifications.
Okay.
Okay? I need letters of support. I'm going to get one from the county. I'm proposing to the city to do the same, but we need to find out what the deed is.
Okay. Do we have any information about the deed here, whether from Mark or Jerry?
No, earlier I talked to Galen, who's been talking to him, and she said that you were going to bring this up, but I go on to property appraisers, the city doesn't own it.
Right.
It says owned by African American Cemetery or something, so, but she said you had some proof the city owns that property.
I've been told by the state's property appraisal that the city owns the property.
Okay.
The county informed me of that also. I've yet to find a record stating that the cemetery trustee board owns that piece of property.
Okay.
If that's the case, I can move forward with the grant. I'm just requesting support from the city. So if that is the case, we can move forward.
Okay.
Okay, but that's where we have kind of come to a challenge.
I don't think that's inappropriate, since all of quitclaim deed says is that if we own anything, and associated with this legal description that's attached, then we're deeding that over to you. It doesn't say that we do own it or give a warranty like a standard warranty deed.
Sir, there's a name of an organization. Whenever you look on the property appraiser website, there's a name that comes up there. It's National African American or something like that. Does it say City of Avon Park?
There's not a consistent response to that.
Okay.
You can go to multiple sites and get multiple responses.
Okay.
If you,
My question specifically was
I'm sorry.
the organization that does come up on the Highlands County website, even if whether they actually own it or not, is that the organization that you're also working with?
that's what we're trying to understand.
Okay.
The group I'm working with is the trustee board that was formed prior to 2013, okay, that Ms. Johnson and others had run, okay? That transition happened with Donald Gordon and Agria Gordon this year, last month, okay? So in trying to understand the legalities of trying to write a grant or get support from government entities, we've run into that challenge.
Sure.
Okay, because we were told, I was told that the city owned the property.
Yeah.
But since there's been others that said that's not what's that, but no one from anywhere I can find has any record of that.
Sure.
So that's all I'm requesting.
As I sit here, it's never been conveyed to me that the city actually owned that property. You know, it's always been that there was a separate organization that owned it, and there was the struggle of coming up with all the financing and everything. So,
and we've got a path for that.
Sure.
So that's not what I'm.
I think it's wonderful.
Yep.
You know, that's a good thing. So
the only thing I would suggest as a caution is that you know what the charter is of the organization that's going to be running this, and what happens if that organization falls apart. Who gets the property at that point? And so you don't end up with piece of property that nobody's caring for and becomes an eyesore.
Excellent point, and I plan on being very open and reporting back to the city this, because I just will.
We don't need anything right now, but at some point, I would suggest to before you sign off on a quitclaim deed for property you might own or might not, that at least we have some kind of a transition if the organization falls apart.
okay. So Jerry, obviously we can't do this here tonight, but are you going to work on getting a quitclaim deed written up, or?
Sure, I can do that. What we'll need the legal description. I assume somebody has that. Or is that a big assumption?
That is a big, at this point.
All right, so then,
I haven't had a chance to look at it. I got this late this afternoon, and Chrissy's pulled up exactly. That's the property on there. It's not listing the city as owning it.
And would this need to be surveyed, or?
well, that's the thing, is if nobody knows what the legal description is, if there's not an accurate legal description, then it needs a meets and bounds legal description. It can't be, block so-and-so, lot so-and-so. It's got to be a meets and bounds description in order for it to be legally conveyed.
Okay. So, sir, we're obviously of the mindset that we don't own that property. So is there a legal description that you could provide, or? has
Right
it
here,
been
I have a legal description, a tax parcel number from Duke Energy dated in 2013 on November. And it says parcel number A273328AOO-A100-000.
Yeah, that's really,
That's a parcel number.
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the only reference. And then there is,
But based on that, we can look into it.
there's a
and see what-
survey there's a survey on here.
Well, survey would be helpful,
On
absolutely.
that property. I can provide all this here.
Worst case scenario is somebody could take the survey and write a legal description if that, a surveyor could. I couldn't do that because we're not allowed to do that. But a surveyor could do that
Here,
if you need to do that.
Here it is. It says a portion of Section 27, Township 33, South Range 28 East, Highlands County,
Okay,
Florida.
that's a meets and bounds description.
So does that suffice, Jerry?
Yeah, that's what we need. As long as it's accurate. I mean, like I said, obviously we don't, there's so little known apparently here. I'd be concerned that we're giving away somebody else's property.
So obviously, the board, is anyone opposed to this action?
Yeah, we can just move forward on it.
Yeah, everyone seems. So obviously, you'll have to have a conversation with the attorney in the meantime, see if we can get all the paperwork worked out, and hopefully at our next meeting or the one after, actually get this done for you.
Thank you very much.
So,
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 9, this will be the minutes from April the 10th, 2023. Be looking for a motion.
Make a motion, we approve item number C9, the minutes from April 10th, 2023, please.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Yes, sir. Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes,
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 10, this will be Resolution 2023-05, approving the sale of Brickell Building. Jerry?
This is a resolution of the City Council of Avon Park, Florida, to approve the sale of Brickell Building located at 2 East Main Street, Avon Park, and authorizing the mayor to execute the necessary documents to consummate the sale, providing for an effective date. So this sale's already been consummated, and this is really just an after the fact. But you already approved the agreement to sell, and there were no requirements. There were subjective requirements. It was just that they provide us with a CO, they provide us a CO, and so we did. But just in abundance of caution, we thought we would do the ratification by resolution just to make sure that nobody contests it in the future.
Okay. With that, we'll be looking for a motion.
I make a motion, we approve item number D10, resolution number 2023-05, please.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? I will be abstaining from the vote due to my relationship with Mr. Sauls. So we have a motion and a second. If there's no further questions, we'll call a roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes,
Motion passes.
Item number 11, this will be Resolution 2023-06.
A resolution of the City of Avon Park, Florida, providing for council approval of state mutual aid agreement, providing for effective date.
Okay, this is the resolution for the approval of the state mutual aid agreement. Mark, did you have anything to add to that?
I don't know if y'all had a chance to read it or what it involves, but I think it's good that the city gets in this in case there is a major disaster in our city, or we can respond to help somebody out.
Yep. Agreed.
Does
Tinker.
this,
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Does this go back to the whole staging at the airport part? Is that what this is?
No, not really. I mean, that's where they would stage, but this is if, I'm used to this through the sheriff's office. We had this, all sheriff's offices had this, and during hurricanes, we sent several of our detention deputies up to the Panhandle when they had a jail up there blown away, and deputy sheriff sent. This is basically that if something happened here and we couldn't handle ourselves, we could request help, and anybody that's just mutual aid would be sent here.
Oh, I see.
And the same as if they needed help. And, you know, we're smaller, we don't have, a lot of time you have to be self-supportive. You have to send your own kitchen and place to sleep and all that. But other times, somebody just may need one of our plant operators with a license to help something out. So, I mean, it could roll into that, you know, they would be staging out here, but we would be responding somewhere, or someone would be responding here to help us.
More or less being a good community partner.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of them things, I will never need it, well, until we do need it, so.
Sure.
Yep.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion we approve item number D11, resolution number 2023-06, please.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 12, we have the insurance policy minimum limits reference. This will be for the city's new lease with the Historical Society. Mark?
Yes, you actually approved that, it was signed, Nancy Fisk is here, who can speak if you wanted to, but when she went out to look at how much the insurance was going to cost, she spoke to, I think it was up to 4 brokers who all said $5 million. They've kind of never heard it for that high. And so then it was almost 3 times the amount of $1 million. I got a hold of Jerry. We talked about it. Both of us agreed that we wanted to bring it back in front of you. We're both good with $1 million. If anything more than that, the city also has insurance there. But Nancy's here to speak to more of that if you need her, or Jerry.
Jerry, anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, I agree that it's the circumstances of the 501c3 especially that's doing work, you know, good work for the city. Basically, that's what 501c3s do. They step in the place of the city. You know, we should not be loading them down. This was the amount that we've been approving on a regular basis for different contracts, but it seems like it's a bit high for these type of entities, which often have a problem just making it.
Okay.
I have a question. How long was the Historical Society lease for? I mean, it's
21 years.
renewal, right?
It's 21 years.
How many?
21 years.
Yeah, we just did that.
Okay.
Had to do with the new facility that they're trying to build. They were going after a grant that required them to have the 20 years left on the contract. Or on the lease, rather.
So what we're saying is, let me make sure I'm understanding you. 21 years ago, we set it at
No.
5 million?
No.
What was it when was it 5 million? What year was it?
It's never been 5 million. This was a new lease.
We just approved the lease at $5 million.
5 million. So what changed it?
It's
from
never
5
been any. They never had any insurance
Yeah.
under the lease that would have expired this year in June.
So they never had any insurance. Now we're requiring that they do.
Correct.
Well, actually, we required it, but they didn't have it.
Right.
Yeah. It just appears that from an industry standard, the 5 million is far outside the normal scope, and so that's why it's so much more expensive.
Especially for a nonprofit.
Right.
You know, I think we need to consider the $5 million for leases and things like that.
Sure.
We'll just have to look at it carefully and reconsider.
And some industries do have a $5 million standard, you know, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't be out of the question in those industries. But this particular, having a museum, especially with a 501c3, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, comparing it to the airport, a little more liability out there. There's
Sure.
a 6. So.
$6 million, that's right.
Right. Any other questions? Seeing none, do we have a motion on this yet?
No, sir.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve D12 to reduce the insurance from $5 million to $1 million.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Last call for questions. Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Ms. Fisk, thank you very much.
I have a question, Ms. Fisk.
You'll have to
I'm so sorry.
give your name and address for the record, please.
Nancy Fisk, 603 South Hart Avenue, Avon Park.
Can you tell me how your donations work with the Historical Society?
Our revenue is from membership dues.
Okay.
Individuals 15, family is 25, business is 50. We do have a donation box. Admission is free or by donation only. We have fundraisers, like we were at the Blueberry Festival and sold $500 worth of cheesecake bars and blueberry bread. You know.
That's good. I
Okay.
just never knew, and I just wanted to, get the information for myself.
Well, we do not have any paid employees. It's all volunteer, and we have a very hardworking board. So,
Since we drug you up here, is there any updates on the baseball museum?
well, if you were there when we put up our billboard, and we have rounded first. We have our base runner is going to be put up there. He's halfway to second base. So we're very close to getting the $200,000 that we need to submit the grant. And the deadline is June 1st for that. So we are in a very good position to get the grant.
So Barry, when you're on the radio, you want to put something out there about people that want to donate to the Avon Park Baseball Museum, now's the time.
Do you have any fundraisers planned for that?
We haven't had individual fundraisers. We've allowed people to make donations, and we're doing very well with that. As soon as we've been working on getting the grant, and once we do that, we will. The Champions Club wants to do a barbecue dinner for us that we will just sell tickets for, and things like that. Okay. But we're basically getting this grant in place.
Okay, good.
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nancy. All right. Item number 13, this will be the State Highway Lighting Maintenance and Compensation Agreement. Mark?
This is our annual agreement with FDOT for us to, we pay the power on these lights and we maintain them. If something breaks or wherever, we get it fixed. It goes up 3% a year, and it's the same amount, 255 lights.
Okay. Any questions on this?
No.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion we approve the State Highway Lighting Maintenance and Compensation Agreement work order.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Do we have any last call for questions? Seeing none, please call a roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 14, this will be reduction of code enforcement lien request for 426 West Bell Street. Mr. LaBelle?
On the 5th of this month, Mr. Zamora came into our office and filed for a lien reduction for his property located at 426 West Bell Street. During the, I guess, lack of a better word, the interview with him, he requested a 90% reduction. The original lien amount was $10,100, resulting from somebody living in a camper. I think it says mobile home, but that's because of our Navaline system, but it was a camper on the property. The running fine started on 9/24 of 2021 at $100 a day. Then it ended on January 3rd of 2022. This went through in front of the city magistrate where the fine was ordered. The city magistrate ordered or advised that due process was followed in this case. Mr. Zamora came in and paid the $325. I have sent the case to Mr. Buer for his recommendation as to what he would be allowed per the lien reduction matrix, and I believe Mr. Zamora is in the audience. I can tell you, talking to him, apparently this was a rental house. According to the property appraiser site, which is what we statutorily have to send out correspondence to. The correspondence from the city, i.e. the couple different notices certified as well, went to 426 West Bell Street and probably were not handed over to Mr. Zamora, who lives somewhere else. According to him, he lived on Thomas Street. So nobody ever, during the process, nobody showed up to the magistrate hearings. That may further substantiate his claim that he never got it, but that would be up to him under, I guess, going to place him under oath. So he's here right now requesting to pay the city $1,052.79. That is basically the 10%, which equals $1,010, and then the hard cost to the city of $42.79 for a total of $1052.79. He was very cordial during all interaction with him. And I will note that I was contacted by an attorney in Lake Placid. There is the amount of money, the total amount of $10,100 sitting in an escrow account right now, just in case the city decides to not vouch for the lien reduction or approve it. I just want to put that on the record that it's basically pending our decision. So that money will be available once you make a decision tonight,
Okay.
I guess pertaining to what it is.
Jerry, anything to add to that?
Yeah, when I was asked to look this over and make a recommendation, first of all, we need to get sworn testimony with regard to the whether it was approved or not approved. But I looked at the violation was corrected between 3 months and 6 months of the required compliance date. According to the matrix, that makes it a moderate extent of deviation. And then there's two choices for the harm to the community. The violations were so substantial as to have a potential impact on the sale of neighboring homes, but did not create a potential for rats or other vectors. Or you might find violation created a risk of lowering the property values, which is minor. So one is moderate, or the other one's moderate, minor. If you go with the moderate, it's a 15 to 25% reduction, according to your matrix. If you go with a moderate, minor, it's a 25 to 40% reduction. Now, a lot should hinge on his being able to testify that he did not know that was there, and that he never received any rent from that particular mobile home, both of which are verifiable. So if he wants to come up and present his testimony on that.
If you will, please give your name and address for the record.
Yes.
Do you have the oath for testimony?
I'll go ahead. Mr. Zamora, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have your name and address for the record?
Yes, I have my address is on 426 West Bell Street. Okay. But before I was living in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, but I remember when I bought the property, I came to city with the old owner, and we asked if it any trouble in the property, and we pay. I remember we pay more than $800 taxes. The old owner need to pay, so I paid the money, and then I paid him the money. But nobody showed me the trailer was illegal in the property. If somebody showed me that, so I made sure that I go out, or you help me to get it out, but nobody showed me nothing. Then I came back another year to pay my taxes, and still nobody showed me nothing in front about the trailer. So now when I put on sale the property, and the lien came on. So I never knew it was a lien on the property, because nobody showed me on the trailer, nobody said nothing. Even I asked,
Sure.
if it's something wrong, because I'm coming from Texas to pay my taxes, But somebody need to show me, hey, it is a lien or it is a problem with the trailer. I saw the trailer and I saw the guy living there. So to me, it made nothing to me, you know. But I never knew it was illegal to have a trailer.
Okay, so you were the owner of the property and you were leasing it to someone else.
Yes.
So the person.
I paid that property, but the guy never told me the guy is going to stay there. So I pay. I said the guy is living with the old owner. So I never knew on Mr.
So the trailer
Robert.
was never part of the lease.
No.
Did you have anything to do with bringing that trailer onto the property?
No, because when I moved a year ago through Avon Park, I bought my other house, the one I sell today. So I came and bought the house, and I'm remodeling the other house.
Okay. Did you ever receive any rent?
No,
from
sir.
that? Okay. Did the person that was staying in that trailer wasn't a relative or a friend or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I mean, I think that your choice is to go with either one of those two. Possibly, if you wish, you could go to the lesser one. So you have, but I mean, he is the violator. You understand that it's your responsibility to oversee your own property. You know, we don't do that, and so that would be where this fell apart. So you can go with either moderate, 15 to 25%, or 25 to 40% if you decide that the violation created just a risk of lowering the property value, as opposed to the moderate, which is a substantial, to have a potential impact on sale of neighboring homes, to having a trailer up on there when it's not zoned for a trailer.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. I didn't interrupt you, did I?
Nope.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So you knew the trailer was there?
I saw the trailer when I bought the house.
Okay.
The thing is, nobody told me it was illegal to have a trailer there, and also I left back to Texas, and I came next year to pay my taxes, and the guy, is still there. But I can and pay, everything is okay? Say yes. So nobody showed me, hey, you had a ticket for the trailer or something, you see? Then I stopped here for a little while and made you to help me to take the guy out. But then nobody showed me nothing.
The city reacts to complaints on those types of things, or if they see it, you know, and so on. If they didn't happen to see it before you bought it, then, you know, it was your responsibility when you bought it to make sure that it was meeting the zoning. And if it didn't meet the zoning and you did a contract, then you could speak to an attorney about the people that sold it to you having, you know, sold to you with a warranty deed, I assume, that said that they were in compliance. Those are the types of things that, you know, you could seek from somebody else. But, you know, we have to, you know, uphold the rules here. But we do have this forgiveness policy that does provide a portion of it. This is different than the ones where we have somebody buying it and then rebuilding it and making it a new home and putting it on the tax records where it wasn't before. So, according to your matrix, those are you can do what you want to do as far as the council, but by your matrix, that's what you have.
So if we went with the most forgiving, which would be the 40% reduction, the total fees would be $6,102.79.
Okay, plus whatever the cost.
That's including the 42.
Oh, is that the cost? Okay.
Ms. Taylor?
Am I understanding him right? When he purchased the home, the trailer was there?
Correct.
And the homeowner before, were they fined anything for having the trailer there?
We don't know.
Randy?
I don't believe so, no. It may have been one of those that somebody called in, or that was a long time ago, and I don't have those actual notes.
We've had some deficiencies in our code enforcement over the years. However,
Yes.
we're working hard to get those fixed. That's putting it nicely.
So is there another house on the property as well?
There's
Or
a
is it
home,
just- there
and
is a
then
home?
there's a trailer on it.
So how big is this piece of property that had a home and a mobile home on it?
I've got the property appraisers. Let me look at it real quick.
So it was a mobile home or it was a camper?
Yeah,
type
it's a camper.
RV?
It was, but unfortunately, our Navaline doesn't delineate between the two. I've only got actually, I can pull it up if you got a second.
I got a general question for you, Jerry. Maybe you could answer this. When somebody owns a piece of property, whether it's got a home on it or not, and decides to rent that piece of property out, obviously he's responsible if there's any mortgage payments or the taxes. So doesn't there at some time the property owner then lets everybody know that send all these bills to this address, don't send them to the actual address of the home?
It's their responsibility to let the tax authorities know where to send the bill.
Right, so.
And I'm not that I can't say that I'm not sympathetic, because I know my father bought a house and there was a shed on it, which was illegal, and somebody discovered it about a couple of years later and told him he had to tear it down because it wasn't legal. So, I mean, I can feel the pain, but that's the responsibility when you buy something.
Yeah. Well, I think the main goal here is to remedy the situation, to make sure that it is solved, and it sounds like from what Randy's saying that the problem has been solved.
It was resolved, and just for the I know that it was asked, the lot, it's actually R1 AA, which is our biggest zoning designation in the city for residential. The lot is almost a double lot. It's 120 wide by 135 deep, so much bigger than a quarter acre.
Sure. Okay, so the question comes down to, do we want to go with the 15 to 25% reduction or the 25 to 40% reduction? My vote would be to go to the 25 to 40% reduction, and then, but I'm but one person, so what say everyone else?
I agree with the 40%.
40% is the 6102? Is that
Correct, that would be the most forgiving that we could do under our current matrix.
I don't know, I just feel like if yes, it's his responsibility, and of course he's gonna have to pay the price for not checking it out. But if this was there when he bought it, I feel like some of the issue should be on the original.
But we have no
property
legal
owner.
means of doing
Right,
that.
I
so.
know. That's what I'm saying, I don't know why he should absorb the whole thing when it was the previous property owner's fault to begin with.
It's no different than if you bought a house that was full of asbestos and you didn't know it, and then now you're responsible for having to tear it all out. You know, it's just the risk you take when you buy properties. Brittany, anything?
So you acquired the property just from a tax sale? You just paid the past due taxes?
Yes. I pay my taxes on time, yeah.
But you didn't pay any additional for the property? All you paid was the past due taxes?
No, because I just came and said how much I own. And said, you want this much, or I paid whatever they told me. But never knew it on the trailer ticket.
Mhm.
That's the only thing.
And you were renting that other house on the property, you were renting it out?
No.
To anyone else? It was just
No,
vacant?
because the house wasn't livable because
Okay.
I demo everything and I'm doing everything new.
So you're fixing the property up?
Yeah, everything. I'm putting everything new in the house. So the house wasn't livable.
But you're already selling it?
No, the one I'm selling is the one on Thomas Street.
Okay.
So
No, that one is where I'm going to be.
But the escrow is from
the sale of his house on Thomas Street.
Oh, okay.
The lien is attached, obviously, to his name, so that's when they did the title search, they realized that the property at 426 had a lien.
Okay, that makes sense, okay.
Makes sense. Two other council members, anything? Suggestion?
I'm letting the care. I mean, I think the previous owner was just as responsible. Why should
Right.
he have to pay?
We don't have a choice to go back on anyone else. So your options are between 15 and 40% reduction.
Did you buy title insurance with this,
On that one?
on that property? Yeah.
No, that day because I paid only $20,000 for
Okay.
the property, so it wasn't that much to pay, on insurance.
Well, that would say that might be something, I mean, I can't advise you legally, but that would, if you had title insurance, that would be, something.
No, it's still not. The house wasn't livable to pay insurance, or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll make it simple. I make a motion that we reduce the cost by 40%, which would make a grand total of $6,102.79. Do we have a second?
I'll second. And I'd like to make a comment.
Go ahead.
My comment is that I feel sorry for you about the amount of money that has to be paid back to the city for this condition, but this is exactly the reason why we have the matrix, is because there were so many times that this type of situation would come up, and we would basically would reduce the fine to almost nothing. And it just wasn't fair because there was too many people that didn't take the extra steps to make sure that they did something legally. We even actually had a builder contractor in here, I think last year, who did a similar thing and kind of made a mistake. He didn't bother to do his own research, and we had to find him what was part of the matrix too. So that the whole reason we have the matrix is so that we can be fair to what's honest and accurate. At the same time, it doesn't mean we don't feel bad for you, which we do, but this is what we voted on, and this is what we have to live by. So I feel bad, but I agree with the $6,102.79.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
No.
Councilmember Taylor?
No.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right, item number 15 is to be reduction of code enforcement lien for 914 South Pineland Avenue.
Okay, I believe, on this case, I believe the owner of the property is on Zoom, I'm hoping. Anyways, he's in Georgia right now, that's why he can't attend in person.
Okay.
Again, this particular one started out back on the 15th of October 2021. It started out with 3 violations. Partial compliance was received. So the 3 violations that started out, I believe, were overgrown, no house numbers, and the tarp on the roof. The partial compliance included the tarp on the roof, or I'm sorry, the overgrown and the numbers, which left the tarp on the roof. It went to magistrate. He erred on the side of the city. There was a fine put in place at $100 a day. Said fine started on October 15th, ended on December 27th of the following year, 2022. That led to an amount of $43,800 plus hard cost of, it's on my sheet, I believe it was $42.79. So we're here today. The actual reduction he is seeking is the 90%. The lien reduction from the $43,842.79 would be $39,458 and 51 cents, leaving a total of, hang on. Well, this one, I guess I didn't put it on there.
No, you didn't.
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. What is it? Yep, 442702.
Okay.
7, I'm sorry.
Jerry, same thing.
Well, this one, we need to overcome one of your exclusions first, because if you don't overcome that, then we don't need to get to the matrix. So number 9 of your policy of the rules states that violations that are of a magnitude that they create community harm for more than 12 months will not be considered reduction if the applicant is the violator. In this case, the applicant is the violator. It was for more than 12 months, so you need to decide whether it's of the magnitude to create community harm. Otherwise, we don't go any further.
I guess you would have to decide whether a blue tarp on the roof would constitute community harm.
My opinion, it does not. How does the rest of the council feel?
Yeah, I
What
think.
about the overgrown?
That was taken care of, as well as the house numbers, so those are not part of the lien.
How long did the blue tarp, what was it up there?
It was there almost 15 months. It started on October 15th of 2021 and removed on December 27th, 2022.
Do you have any insight into if he had hired a contractor and at what point he did?
I
Okay.
do not.
We can
That-
save it.
because again, we couldn't
Sure.
get in touch.
Sure.
So I think he can probably
Yeah.
answer a lot of those questions. I can tell you, I did look and found a quitclaim deed dated back on July 30th of 2021, where he did receive the property from a John Miles Jr. So basically, this was approximately 4 months later when he was cited.
Okay.
So he was the owner of the property since July 30th, 2021, and cited on 10/15/2021.
Okay, so the question of the blue tarp causing community harm, we've heard from 2 council members. What else? Yes, no?
No, I don't think it.
I wish we had pictures to see, because,
Sure.
was it a simple leak with a blue tarp, or was it
It was partially
falling down?
It was partially covering. He may be able to advise why the tarp was up there, but it wasn't.
Put him under oath, and so we can go answer some of these questions.
I can tell you it was not completely covering the entire roof.
Okay.
Mr. Benjamin, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, sir. I'm going to administer an oath for your testimony. So if you could, raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead and ask him questions if you wish.
You had the question about the tarp, Brittany?
Yes, was the tarp on the roof just due to a simple leak, or was there structural damage underneath it, or why did you have the tarp on the roof?
No, ma'am. A short, brief story. This house is across the street from my house. I owned a 911, and this was a drug den. And I almost lost my life with my friend from the people that they lived across the street on 914. They assaulted us, and I got 200 stitches on my head from 6 guns hitting on my head. So I put that as a goal of my life, to get that house out of those people, the squatters. And after 2-3 years, I managed to buy the house. And when I bought the house, the tarp was there. They had a leak on one side of the house that they were stopping it from with the tarp. And since I have bought that, I have fenced the property. I have put a pretty roof on. The house is painted. The drug dealers are gone. The neighborhood is safe. So I have done all these things, risking my own life. You know, it's one of the roughest neighborhoods you ever been able to imagine exists in the United States. So the place is nice and pretty now. I am not renting it. I'm just keeping it clean. You know, all cut, trees are cut, so there is no hiding place around there. So the house is just a complete day and night change. You know, from when I got it to now. And the notice of violation was never mailed to me because of the squatters. They always took the mail. They took the mailbox. They always kind of fought me. And I never was notified about this violation through posting, through mail, through anything. And they knew I lived across the street from the house. So that was the story.
Okay. Sir, do you know when you hired someone to fix the roof?
Right, about a few months after that, sir. I basically did it myself.
Okay.
May I add something?
Please.
I know Ms. McGuire asked for pictures. I do have the magistrate file with me. I brought it. I do have 2 photos that'll depict the tarp if you so desire to see it.
Yes. We'll pass them around.
Do you have new pictures of how it looks now?
No, I don't, but I did go by there today, and the way the way that he describes it is accurate. There is a roof on it. It looks like it's uninhabited. It is clean. It's completely different than it was when he was cited.
Okay. All right, so does anyone disagree that this tarp did not cause community harm?
No.
Okay, so Jerry, if you will.
Sure. Well, getting over that, then this is very similar to the last one. It goes to 15 to 40%. A little wider range because one part is major, but the second part, the most important part, is minor.
Okay. So Randy, there's no current deficiencies with the property?
Did not appear to be any, and
Okay.
I went past it this morning.
Okay, so according to the matrix, the most that we could reduce this by is 40%. Is that accurate, Jerry?
Yes, that's correct.
Excuse me, sir. 40% reduction is triple or quadruple the amount of what the house is worth. 40% of $50,000, no, is so much money. They should give me some money for rehabbing that house and running the dope dealers out of the place. They were squatting there for 9 years and nobody ever told them anything. They had the power hooked on illegally, the water hooked on illegally. They were there and nobody objected to them. And I have fixed the place up, and 40% of $42,000 is an extremely steep fine. And I paid $350 in this tight situation to come in front of your council meeting, Your Honor.
I certainly understand why you feel that way, and quite frankly, I agree with you. The only issue is that we have a matrix in place for a reason, to make sure that we're not giving preferential treatment to certain people or not others. And unfortunately, under the current code that we have, this is the best that we can offer under this matrix is 40% reduction. So
how much that will be?
40% reduction is what we're considering.
Now, he want to know how much is 40%.
Okay.
It's $20,000.
Hang on a second here.
Can I add something for the record as well?
Please.
I know, I believe Mr. Benjamin advised he lived at 911, but the place in violation was 914. All correspondence did go to 911 to his residence, and it was returned to sender.
Okay.
I have a copy of that from the magistrate file as well. So
Okay.
nothing was signed for at his correct address.
Okay.
Yeah.
That also is the record on the property appraiser site as well for the mailing address.
Okay.
So the only ameliorating circumstance we have suggesting a reduction in penalty percentages if the violator verifiably hospitalized or non-ambulatory for extensive portion of a code violation term or lacked assistance from nearby family members and lacked that assistance, a reduction between additional 30 to 70%. But that's not true with either one of these circumstances. But if you wanted to consider, at some point in the future, adding in different additional ameliorating circumstances such as rehab of a home, maybe by percentage, added value or something like that, then that's something you could do.
Okay. All right. Well, those are still two separate issues. So,
Eric?
yes.
I got a question for Randy.
Go ahead.
Randy.
Ma'am.
What was the reason why the post office sent back, if it was going to the correct address, 911?
He didn't
What was the reason that the post office sent it back?
Didn't sign for it.
He wouldn't, did it say refuse to sign or?
No, a lot of times they don't. Sometimes during COVID too, they wouldn't even try to deliver it. This was during that time as well. They wouldn't even remotely go to the house. They would put it in the mailbox, and that would suffice as service, which made no sense to us.
Yeah.
But that's the U.S. Post Office.
I have one other question too. How long does the tarp have to be on the roof before it becomes a code violation?
Well, if there's no reasoning for it to be, obviously, we're not going to cite somebody if there's a leak on it. I mean, obviously, that would do more damage than it would good. There is nothing that in ordinance that says there is a time frame, but we go down to common sense. Certainly, over a year is a little excessive, and that was almost 15 months that tarp was on the roof.
So we never at any point talked to him to see if there was a leak on the roof?
Couldn't get a hold of them. They didn't answer that's all we're
So
statutorily.
if we can't get a hold of someone, then we just assume that and we go forward with the code violation then?
Yes, statutorily, that's all we have to do.
They have my phone number as well.
No, the statute actually provides for that as well.
Correct.
Okay.
Because, there are hundreds of people, you can't reach them no matter what you do.
Right. All right. So under our current code, like we said, the most that we could reduce it is 40%. If the council wants to change the code in the future, more than welcome to do so. But as presented here tonight, this is the best that we can do. So you can choose.
40%, $40,000?
Yep, sir, if you'll refrain from commenting, we're trying to get through this. So that's the best that we can do. Now, one option that you do have, if you know for a fact that you're going to want to reduce the code, you could table this until a future date and try to change the code in the meantime, but I can tell you that's going to take at least 2 meetings, and it will probably be a lengthy process to do that. So it would be my advice that we go ahead and reduce it by whatever amount that we wish tonight, and then we can visit that as a separate issue. You don't want to have to make him wait just so that we can get through our own code. So my suggestion would be to reduce it to the maximum amount, which is 40%. Obviously, there's 5 people sitting here, so don't be shy.
I agree and I second it.
Okay, I didn't make a motion, but do you wish to make a motion?
Yes, I like to.
do both.
Okay, so Ms. Taylor made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Further questions?
No, just, I think maybe that after this is maybe something we should look at this and decide whether there's circumstances make a difference or not. I think there's.
Yeah, so I mean, on that note, Jerry brought up a good point that it could be tied to percentage of rehab. You know, in some cases, the only thing that's worth saving is the slab, and it's basically rebuilt from there, so it's 100%. But other times, you're only doing maybe a 30% rebuild, and the only issue that I see with that is who the heck is going to be in charge of saying you rebuilt this 75% of the way. I mean, it's kind of, you'd almost have to tie it to the roof is this percentage and the walls are this. You know what I'm saying? It could get complicated pretty quick, but Jerry, being the brainiac that he is, could probably come up with something for us. So.
I will try to figure something out.
Okay.
But I failed to reach that level, I'm sorry.
All right, but we have a motion and a second at 40%. Any other questions on that? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
So it seems to be the will of the board to ask Jerry to actually put something together to try to come up with another circumstance of percentage of rehabbing the property tied to percentage of
some type of
debt relief there. Is that?
Yeah, even with, because he mentioned the squatters and things like that, so if there was some kind of proof that there was, bad activity going on there, and then they purchased it and then rehabbed and moved that activity out.
It would have to be like in the form of a police report.
Right.
I'd like to actually put together a small group of Randy and if the city manager has time, and perhaps Brittany, because she had some good ideas the last time we considered one of these, and sit down and see if we can hammer out a better policy. Like I said, when I did the original one, we're going to have to tweak this in the future. But I'd like to see it as fair as we can possibly get it. And that when I say fair, I mean the fair to the people that are violators and fair to the people that are suffering the violations.
Okay, is the board amenable to that?
Yes, Ms. Taylor had something to say.
Only problem I'm having, I love the rehabbing thing, because, everybody in here know I'm rehabbing. The only problem I'm having is, when I bought my property, I went straight to Randy, talked to Randy, and, tried to do everything I could and stayed in contact with whoever I need to stay in contact with. But these 2 cases here, it's like no one tried to get with the city on if they're receiving letters or you visiting your property to find out what's going on at your property. Neither one of these cases that is happening. So if we do sit and revise the lien reduction due to rehabbing, what we gonna say? You got to make sure that you have made contact with this, as long as we covering all the bases, because some of them is just not gonna do it no matter what we say. They're just not gonna do it.
Yeah, they would have to be here if it was over 30%, and so both of those got over 30%, so they got a benefit out of it. But I would never suggest that we would go to 90% for either one of these cases, simply because, as you say, there wasn't a tremendous amount of effort to try and get with the city and say, hey, how do I fix this up? What do I do? Which Randy's very helpful with people to answer those questions and then need to be done. So I don't perceive any that we'll come up with anything like that, but then you'll have an opportunity to look at it and approve it, at that point anyway, and we'll certainly be happy to have your suggestions.
I would also like to add, can I add something? I mean, to me, I'm going back to law enforcement, prima facie evidence. He fixed 2 of the 3 things, so he knew about it. Okay, so that proves that there was knowledge of this,
Good point.
these violations, just for
Good
the
point.
record.
Okay. All right. So we haven't called a vote yet, right? We have, okay. All right, so we voted on that. Now, on the issue of coming up for suggestions, Jerry had asked that he get together with city staff and with Councilwoman Brittany. Do we want to go ahead with that? Is the council amenable to that?
I am. I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
I am.
All right. There you have it, Jerry. We'll leave it up to you to schedule that.
Hopefully the city can do the scheduling. I'm available most of the time, and I know Brittany's got a tight schedule as well. I talked to her about this already, to try and we tried to set it up once before, and we couldn't work it out because of the holidays.
Of course.
But I would like to get it done so, we can get a little further into being in good place.
Randy just volunteered. Thank you, Randy.
Can I, maybe we're not up to staff updates, but I do have a question. I have 2 pending sitting on my desk. Should I hold off on those until we come up with a potentially new, because they just both paid the $325 and they both want 90%?
They rehab?
I haven't even looked at them. They just, they were
fine.
given to Ashley.
Find out if they're rehab and then send them to me, and we'll see if they should be held back. Because, if it's just simply, I thumbed my nose at the city for a year and a half, and now I regret it because it's a lot of money and I'm trying to sell my house. That's not what this is for. This is because then people lack the motivation to do it the right way.
Right.
Okay.
Good job.
All right. City manager report.
Just, and it wasn't on, but talking about this, these reductions, I found out this hard cost doesn't include salaries, which is ridiculous. That's a hard cost. People are here working, right? So I've asked Randy to do, like Darren probably still does, sheriff's office. When they do the report, they put on the bottom how many hours they've worked. Because, like $42, this last one, that's kind of ridiculous. It should be our people out there working, and Randy going to check on it.
Yeah, for other types of situations, we work in salary, overhead, and the truck. Because if you're going to have to go out somewhere, if part of that time you're using vehicle, those have to be replaced over time as well. There should be some kind of a charge for that. There certainly is in water utilities. All the time we take all that stuff into account.
Yeah, and we can work that up. It just, I didn't realize until I was looking at this last one and asked Randy, we're not capturing that, and that's the main thing we ought to be capturing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There should be a standard fee, I think, minimum. Yeah.
Randy, you're signing that too.
Yeah, I already know.
You're a lucky guy, Randy.
Hey,
All right.
Use your best people all the time. So, AIPP process. Someday I'm going to stop having to bring that up. But the city sent out the survey letters out to everybody that's leasing out there. We've asked for them to get it back by the 1st. They got a stamped envelope, send them back. We have to get 65% back, or that's what the FAA likes. So we're working on that. We have the May 4th special meeting, or you have it. We'll be here too. And Lowell's going to be getting us a PowerPoint on that to get to you before the meeting. And a meeting you'll have to make some more decisions on. And also bring you up to speed on where we're at with that. Renaissance Planning. I had a go-to meeting with them last week, lasted about an hour. They went over, I think there was 5 or 6 of them from Renaissance and 2 or 3 from FDOT on there. They've done a lot of work. They had overlays of, but they first looked at everything that everybody brought up. Those of you, I think everybody was there, and you went in and wrote down what you want and everything. And they tried to incorporate most of all that. They come up with a few different ideas. The bicycle path, if you want a lot of fatalities on bicycles, they might work, but really it's probably going to work someday if the CRA maybe pays for it in the media or in the mall. There might work, but they had a real nice one with it that they worked up. Some of them were going to cost city money. Well, the city doesn't have money to help pay for it at this point. I told them in the future maybe CRA can use things to put the different things out there. So they're going to come back with you and show you the one that wouldn't cost the city money, and it would go back to the 2 lanes. They did Main Street in 3 phases, because even I was out there, like, how are they going to do this? The first phase was right off 27, maybe 2 or 3 blocks where you don't need a lot of parking because you have big parking lots, especially on the south side. But they kind of cut the lane, so you may be in 1 lane, then you move over to what would now be the 2nd lane to create a turn so people can turn off Main Street. So then when it got down into what the whole thing is called a historic district, but we all know once you go over the railroad tracks, that's really the older buildings and where they've got the angled parking and that. They show it an overview. It's really nice, people out walking and that kind of stuff. But they're going to present that to you on the 4th. It's going to take about 45 minutes. They said 30, but I think it'll take 45 because you're going to have some questions of them. But it was very professionally done. Obviously, that's what they do for a living.
That'll be at 6 o'clock?
Yes. They're also, they haven't got the date back with me because this was Thursday or Friday. I was on with them. They talked about should they get back together with a working group, the citizens that came in. I said, yeah, I think that'd be nice. I've had a handful of them ask me if they're going to hear back. So they're trying to get a date to use the jack again, to get that out, to get everybody back so they'll see it. And then on your meeting on the 22nd, there's going to be a resolution. Jerry, they said they'd give us the verbiage. It needs to be in it. And they need a resolution for the council to say, yes, we'd like you to go ahead with this. Of course, there was obviously an FDOT guy in there, had to be, because he said, this doesn't mean this is all going to happen. You got to understand that. And I said, okay, is it pie in the sky? He said, it's pie in the sky, plus this needs to line up with this and this. And I said, okay, I get what you're saying. But I think you'll like what they came up with if you're back to the slowing the traffic down and that. And, you know, being out here, I'm glad we shut both sides down for this Blueberry Festival because someone probably would have got hurt. So I think you really like what they came up with, and they'll be here on the 8th.
Very good.
Our new HR director, Sherry Bagnell, starts next Monday.
Nice.
On the 1st. So Sherry's got well over 25 years. She's just gave her 2 weeks. Well, she's done, I think, Thursday, because she's going to come in and just meet with Liz and I and get to see her office and that stuff. But her husband's actually Maria Sutherland's boss. He's the city manager over in Fort Meade. So actually it was Maria who reached out to me and told me that they had this person. We interviewed 2 people. They both had well over 25 years. Both were really good. City manager got to pick the choice, so she was my choice. So Melody, don't hit me too hard, but no, we're looking forward to getting her on because it's busy being and I have to give staff with being, you know, the HR director is also the HR manager or the risk manager, sorry, and just seems recently we've had a lot of claims and different things going on, and I couldn't have done both jobs without the help of our administrative aide, Liz, who has learned how to make claims and follow up the claims for me, and workman's comp, and I couldn't have done it without, we've actually, since our last HR director left, we've hired 13 people since January, and we're soon, probably next week, going to hire the last solid waste driver that we need, so it'd be 14 since January, and again, I couldn't do it without Randy leading the interviews, helping out there, and Melody's team taking over payroll. They've all done a great job to help out because you also know we don't have a public works director, so I get to handle that side too. So I just want to say what a great job they've done, and we're actually down to, I think it's 9 openings left, but we've put a lot of people on here recently.
I'd like to give kudos to the public works guys that came out and helped me out with a sewer issue a couple weeks ago, morning after getting home with a newborn baby, and sewer's not working. So I was very thankful to see them out there bright and early, and they did a wonderful job. They were good guys. And I wanted to ask you too, was there a new hire in public works or in sewer or something like that, a female? I thought I saw a female name come across in my email.
No, we have not in in public works or in the C&D.
Could have been C&D.
No, not in C&D. We have a female who's out here mowing,
Is that what it was? Okay.
And then we have a female solid waste driver. I don't know if she's the first one, but the first one since I've been here. And this next one, we're probably going to hire. Her background just came in today, finished, and it's another female.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay.
Before we leave, I just have a question.
Sure.
Back on June 13th of 2022, we were talking about the garbage notifications and how things were going to be picked up.
Yep.
Has anybody, what happened to that?
Well, two staff told me you were going to bring it up, so they didn't want me to get blindsided, so I've got it all here for you.
I didn't mean to blindside
I know, you probably didn't, but, this isn't meant to, it's meant what I'm going to say here. Council members, I just still ask if you got questions on, what's going on, just get with me, because you're going to staff and you make them feel uncomfortable, and I can tell you, within a minute of you leaving, they're calling me. We have loyalty that works both ways, and I don't mean this as bad. I don't want it to get out of hand, because in this situation, I could have easily told you what's going on here and not have to do it tonight. But back when you all decided to stay with a 2 days a week pickup, I told you that we needed more staff, that we couldn't do it. So we were having a hard time hiring people. We were already down one, I call him jumper, on the back, and we were down a driver because there was a workman's comp issue for a year. So the supervisor was driving. So I got with Rick Reed, and I think it was Anthony at the time. There was no way, if the new ordinance, if we put that out, we couldn't have done it. If we'd have put out, this is how you put your garbage out, we couldn't have picked it up. Because we go around with the clam trucks and we pick it up now. Well, if you go to the new ordinance, you put it out in a garbage container or a plastic bag, and a clam truck can't pick that up. And a jumper, when we go to it, they have to actually have a knife and cut the plastic bag and dump what's in it in the truck, because that can't go in our landfill, or they'll be closing our landfill down. We also, and actually 2 weeks ago, I got with Lee, the supervisor, and asked how we're doing, because we're only down one more driver that I said we'll be hiring here soon. And the CDL drivers we have hired, many of them have a lot of experience, but none of them drove garbage trucks. So he's cross-training them to drive trucks. So I've got the flyer that I've done myself, because I don't have a ton of staff in the director's level or people that can write. Randy helps out. He's an excellent writer, but I got a lot of people that just, that's not their forte. So I have that done, and what we're going to do is we're going to get that professionally done, and we're going to put it out on, we sat down, the best way to get it out is actually attach it to every garbage cart, like the county does when you get a new one. And that's, and then I've got with the clerk, I've looked at several websites. I like Port St. Lucy's, where this is the link. If you want more, you go on. There'll be do's and don'ts, pictures, and cover the ordinance if they want to read it. But to go this, we couldn't go the way of the ordinance because we didn't have enough people. And when we go to it here shortly, what it'll be is every day, Monday, Tuesday, well, except Wednesday, they're off Wednesdays. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, there's 2 zones. So that takes 2 trucks in each zone, and that's just to pick up your regular garbage. We only have 1 truck that's the automated lift, only a driver drives that. So that's 1 zone, 4 days a week. So the second zone, 4 days a week, is going to be a rear loader, and you're going to have 1 guy driving or girl driving. You're going to have 2 jumpers on it. Then following behind them sometime during the day, not right behind them, you're going to have 2 more trucks, 1 for each zone, and they're going to go around on the Monday and then the Thursday, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But the Monday they're going to be picking up, say, the vegetation. I forget which order we got it in. So you're going to need 2 trucks for each zone. So that's 4 trucks a day they're going to be out here running. So 1 truck, it's just got the 1 person driving until we get enough money to buy the next one, to get it in our funds to buy it. Another truck's going to have the driver and the 2 jumpers. And then the trucks that follow behind, one's going to have 2 jumpers on it, one's going to have 1, because that's how many jumpers we have. Plus you're going to have people with days off. Now the county, when I see them up in my neighborhood once in a while, they operate with a driver and just one jumper. And if there's anything big to pick up, the driver gets out and helps them. So that's why we couldn't go that way until we got enough staff. And I didn't want to put out, this is how we pick up the garbage, because we wouldn't be able to pick it up, because you actually have to get off to pick it up. I mean, we'll still have the clam trucks for a while until people understand that they just can't lay it all out. So it's moving forward. We'd love to have done it long before. We didn't have the people. The people weren't putting in. We weren't getting them hired. But as of hopefully next week, we will be full. Plus, we had the position for our landfill. Someone's out there all day long chopping and taking care of that. One of our current drivers wants to move out there, so this new female, if we end up hiring her this week or next week, she will be driving, but she'll have to be, again, she has experience. The female out there now, her experience is driving the big red bus that gets your blood, so that's, I don't think you wanted her jump behind the wheel of one of these big garbage truck. Plus, also, Monday through Friday, we have 2 other drivers that drive the front end loader, go around and pick up all the dumpsters. And then, we got to have someone that's going out delivering garbage carts and that. So it takes a lot. So that's really the long answer. But
Okay, well, for the record, there was no malicious intent.
No, and I don't believe there was. It just
it's easier to look back through the minutes to see when it was discussed than it is to go and say, let's see, when was that I sat down and talked to Mark about that?
No, and I'm just saying that just sometimes when you go to staff, it just makes them feel like.
Well, if I made any staff feel uncomfortable, I apologize. Because
Well,
like I
I'm
said,
not,
that was not my
and I'm not
intention.
asking for an apology. I'm just letting it out that I did know it was coming up, and I actually spent the morning going through, where we were on this. So the good thing is we're hiring employees. That's the main thing. So, but we will get these out, and as soon as we can, get them on all the garbage carts and be moving that way. And then myself and Lee and all of you are probably going to be getting a ton of calls, because we're not just going around picking up any garbage laying around out there. So
What I was going to suggest is whenever this actually is going to get implemented, perhaps you could give an overview of exactly what we're going to be doing and exactly why we're going to be doing it, because like you say, we're going to be getting that question 100 times a day. So might as well refresh all of our memories, because it's been quite a while.
I'll supply you with the flyers I'm making up that really has the bullet points of what's in the ordinance. And actually Karen, the number on it to call is Karen out at Public Works, so she's going to get pounded.
There you go.
So.
All right. Anything else for the good of the city?
I just have one comment about that. Sometimes there is an emergency, and sometimes you're not available, so there's no reason why, if we can contact the department to do something. And there was a case recently about the airport, if you remember, and the airport personnel told me to try to call the city and couldn't get nobody to answer the phone. So I first called you, and you were doing a meeting or something. So then I just called the city number that went out to where Karen picks it up. And I think after I told her, then shortly after that, you called me back. So I don't see a problem with that.
No, and it's not, there's not a problem.
That was like an emergency type situation.
Well, it doesn't even have to be emergency. It's just sometimes you got to understand, and like she said, there's no ill will. I know there isn't. It's just it makes some of the staff, all the staff, feel uncomfortable. And I have no problem with what goes on. I think it's working good. I just wanted to bring it up that sometimes you just kind of got to remember that it's like sometimes I want to go tell an employee something like, no, he's got a boss, so I got to go tell his boss that, or can I use this guy instead of just, there's times I want to grab Mike Stone or our new guy JJ, our maintenance guy, and just tell him, hey, I need all this done at City Hall. I'm like, no, he's got a boss, because he might have him doing something. So it's not a big problem. I just wanted to bring it up.
That reminds me, one of your employees asked me to ask you to put some music out there at the gazebo so nobody will spend the night there.
Yes, he got me on that one. Randy took care of that one.
I didn't bring it up. I didn't call you, though.
Anything else for the good of the city? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Seeing no opposition, we are adjourned.
Thank you.